now that they are considering all the implications of direction.
What do you think of what the Israeli intelligence chief is saying? And is there time for diplomacy with Iran, or is time running out, or even has it already run out? Congressman Alan West joins us. Good evening, Congressman. A surprising statement from the former chief of Israeli intelligence, isn't it?
Yes, it's very surprising, and good evening. Glad to be with you, Greta. And, you know, I'm not going to get into the internal political battles there, but I do find the fact that he says that Mahmoud Ahmadinejad is rational, as well as that theocratic political totalitarian ideology, which is controlled by the ayatollahs, the mullahs, and clerics. I don't find that to be rational either. You know, one of the things we have to understand was the theory of mutually assured destruction, the MAD theory, which we kind of existed with the Soviet Union. That does not play when you look at the theocracy that Iran is. They are banking on the return of this hidden imam, the Mahdi, and of course, when you understand their theocracy, an apocalyptic event is something that will bring that about. So I think we have to take them serious for who they are and what they say. And Prime Minister Netanyahu, 15 or 16 years ago, was talking about the Iranian threat. And so time is running out, and I think that it would be a very stupid thing for us not to take them or for who they are and for what they contend to promulgate.
I think one of the most difficult things, as I look at it, for me, is that I don't have a sense of this timeline. Is Iran going to have nuclear weapon capability in 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years? You know, it's like all that timeline makes a big difference to me in terms of what I would think that we should do. The intelligence has not been, at least it's not forthcoming to us publicly, and I don't feel like President Obama is in the same place on the intelligence as Prime Minister Netanyahu. I don't think they have the same numbers.
Well, I would defer to Prime Minister Netanyahu. That's his neighborhood, and I think he's well aware. You look at what's just happened within the last 36 hours. A little over 100 mortars and rockets came flying into southern Israel from Gaza Strip, and those came from radical Islamic terrorists who are backed by Iran. And we know that the Iranian Revolutionary Guards are in Syria helping to shore up Bashar Assad. So we are seeing the extension of their regional hegemonic dominance, and we know that there was a cleanup effort coming from a neutron device that is used to initiate a nuclear weapon of some sorts, and that happened just last week. So I think that now comes a time when we cannot be Sir Neville Chamberlain and trust and depend that there will be peace in our times. We have to stop the march toward this effort that we see going on.
It's also hard to, sort of you look at all the factors, and one of the other factors that weighs in my thinking on this is Ahmadinejad has said that he wanted to wipe Israel off the map, and there's been no effort to sort of back off from that. He said he hasn't said he's changed his mind or that he overspoke or is just hyperbole. I mean, he has never ever, at least as far as I can see, backed off that. So that's sort of sitting out there, that direct threat to Israel.
You're absolutely right, and I think history has shown us that when you try to compromise, appease, or negotiate with a madman and a dictator or a despot, it never ends up very well. And we also have to come to the grips, Greta, with the fact that before there was Al-Qaeda, the Islamic terrorist group, which had brought about the most serious casualties and death against the American soldiers and sailors, airmen, Marines, was Hezbollah, and they're backed by Iran. We've been in a sort of a war, and with indirectly war with Iran for quite some time since they took those hostages back in the late 1970s.
One quick question. What would you do about Syria? Would you provide military help for military strikes like Senator John McCain, or would you have more of a wait-and-see attitude? What would you do?
No, I would not get involved with Syria because you have to understand that you would be stepping into a World War III scenario. You have the Iranian Revolutionary Guards on one side backing up Bashar Assad. We now know that you have radical Islamic terrorists. We believe Al-Qaeda working with the quote-unquote freedom fighters. And if you're going to go into into Syria, you need to know exactly what the situation is on the ground and who you're supporting. We don't need to see another repeat of Libya, and we don't need to violate